When I was drafting this video, I was thinking how crazy it was that COVID was 5 years ago, but it was actually 6 years ago. Yeah, how is that possible? I think I've done a pretty good job at keeping these Saturday videos very thought provoking, and then on Tuesday I'm gonna go back to talking about trains again. I don't know, okay. But yeah, as like you saw from the title, COVID was a long time ago. As a young college student, I feel like it affected me like a lot. And it was really a world-changing event. And I think we've reached the point, reached or approached. I just combined two words. The point where COVID can be talked about in the past tense, right? So I'm going to be talking about the experience with COVID and kind of like how it's affected, things today. So, early COVID, late 2019. I don't know if y'all remember this, but COVID actually started in late 2019. There's a few disputes on when it actually started, but most people can agree that it was like December 2019. It was a new virus, right? I don't remember much, to be honest. I was in the 8th grade. I was 13. For context, I am 19 now. Just do the math, right? And 2019 just feels like a different timeline, because think about what was still going on in 2019, right? YouTube Rewind, kind of. It was gonna end pretty soon. What else? There was probably but I don't know. In your head, think about things that happened in 2019 that just don't happen anymore. I think Toys R Us still existed. Maybe I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, COVID did start around this time. The first cases appear in China in late December. Most countries don't bat an eye for a while. But countries near China were particularly aware, and when China's a really big country that's surrounded by many other countries, it's not exactly a great, right? So the West was, of course, less aware. I'm looking at you, America. They just didn't care as much, and there was one country that was particularly aware, though. So Taiwan. I don't think I need to address too much here. Taiwan is close to China. Yes, there's water surrounding it, but that doesn't really mean anything when you have a virus that's airborne. So a virus like that could spread really quickly if it got into a country that small, especially in context like in China. China's big, right? So I'm sure that does make it a little bit less likely for it to spread as quickly. Taiwan is small, so yeah. Now I'm not going to confirm or deny this. There's no fact to this, but there is a conspiracy theory that China made the virus as a bioweapon to use on Taiwan, but it spread in China on accident. Those movies where there's probably a movie where this exact thing happens, right? But you get the idea. I don't confirm or deny this. The point is that whether it was on purpose or on accident, Taiwan was very scared because they were very close to China. So Taiwan's like, okay, we need to lock in, right? Because everyone was expecting Taiwan to be the first country to get infected really badly. So late 2020, maybe late 2019, early 2020, Taiwan shut everything down. So basically everything that was happening in the world 3 months later, Taiwan was already there. School was online and people were remaining inside, right? No non-Taiwanese citizens were allowed to enter the country, which makes sense, right? Because if the virus wasn't really in Taiwan yet, and you didn't let any non-Taiwanese people in, you really had no chance of the virus being transferred. Obviously, the virus did eventually reach Taiwan, but it reached it a lot more tame. I guess I don't know. So, despite predictions of Taiwan being infected greatly, Taiwan would actually end up becoming one of the countries that deal with COVID the best. So other Asian countries. So the virus spreads to other countries. I'm not gonna make that joke. So this is a nightmare, right? But I think it went to Japan and then maybe the U.S. But I don't think it got to the U.S. until a little later, right? So the U.S. is still pretty relaxed on all this. I still remember in February 2020, right? I remember being on a ski trip with my friends. It's the same time that the first case was in New York. There's a bit of worry here because at the time COVID was still viewed as the virus of the month. We've had experience, America or the world has had experience with viruses before, and most of them in recent time have ended relatively smoothly. And I'm not saying people didn't pass away. I'm saying that it was handled, right? It never really reached the scale that COVID would become. So around this time, right, COVID reached New York, and at that time we were thinking, this is a little crazy, but we're not really too worried, right? Really, no one could have predicted what would have come next. Okay, so the final weeks before the lockdown, right? This is once again like late February, early March. I don't really remember much about this, to be honest. Like, I'm gonna be real. Like, my mind was like, I don't remember anything. One teacher claimed that she got like a super early version of COVID, and I think there's like an archetype of these people who want to like say they got COVID just to say they got COVID. I don't know if this is true. It might have just been a cold, but she said she felt it. But like she said she got it in November too, which doesn't make any sense because I don't think the virus existed in November, and even if it did, it definitely wasn't in America yet. So I don't think school being canceled was ever thought about. Like at the very most, my friends and I were talking about maybe like a week of school to like clean the school. We didn't really know what was going on. So it must have been the strangest feeling. Think about it. Like it was the 1 week of school where things were feeling a little bit odd, but nothing was truly out of the ordinary yet. Right, like there was something bad in the air, and I'm sorry. That's like that's kind of a joke at the same time, but it also, yes, there was like a weird vibe in the air that we just didn't know what it was yet. March 2020. So I still remember when they announced the shutdown. It must have been a hell of an email. Like imagine, like how do you even send out information like that? Like do you just like send out an email saying, oh, school is no anymore? Like huh? Like I don't really understand this, right? We were grocery shopping, my family and I. We just happened to be grocery shopping. I don't think we were hoarding anything. We didn't really do much of that, honestly, in COVID. So I think some people were already mass shopping already. Toilet paper was already off the shelf. Let's be real. So we get the news of the shutdown, and like the world is obviously shocked, right? Like you gotta think about it, right? Like a pandemic, epidemic, whatever it's called. Like, what do you mean school just isn't? We don't go to school anymore. That's a thing. Like that's an option. So of course that's like what every like younger kid thinks, right? Like, oh, no school? That's crazy, right? So those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it, right? I think it was around 1918 when the influenza virus hit America or something, and the public was warned of the virus, right? And the response was to go to a parade, you know, an event with a lot of people, right? So America, I shouldn't even say America. The world doesn't really do a great job at learning their lesson. And COVID was a lot worse problem of this because it kind of went on for too long. I definitely think that a lot of lives could have been saved if we went into lockdown earlier. And I do think it's one of like the biggest mistakes of this. But I at the very least they did something, right? So early lockdown. I still remember like what I did on the first day. I played so many games. My parents were like pointing out like you're playing a little too many games. I'm like, well, what exactly do I do otherwise, right? Online school wouldn't start for another week or two. They were still trying to figure that crap out. So I played a lot of games. We were stuck inside. Only essential workers, which my parents were. They weren't doctors exactly. They're both therapists, but they were in the medical field. So they were around a lot of people who either could have had COVID or were treating COVID. Is this video going to get demonetized for me saying COVID this many times? I don't get paid. So COVID at the time was seen as like a fatal disease, right? So people were scared. People were scared, right? This isn't the flu. This isn't the cold. This is like a virus that like screws up your lungs, right? Early lockdown, true. So lockdown was mostly fine till the summer. I was home with my sister, so I had company. Online classes were a mix of Google Classroom and occasional Zoom calls. Eventually, Zoom would like have like a big stock increase. So if anyone managed to predict that, you might be rich now. April went by really fast, right? And each month went by faster and faster. Like, obviously, March felt kind of slow because that's just kind of how the perception of time works. But every month was faster and faster. I watched a lot of good YouTube videos, though. Like, that's just a core memory of mine. I remember watching a lot of good content then. I remember I made a box fort, and I wish I could show you the photo, but I did. The virus would only get worse in this time, so we were still inside. Summer. So the virus is spreading way too fast. The Olympics were understandably canceled, but the funniest thing is that I didn't even know about this until the year after because I just didn't pay. Like, there was a lot of stuff going on, so this really was not something I thought about. But the Olympics were canceled, which makes sense, right? Like, obviously, you really think that a event like where all countries participate is a good idea to right. So Taiwan was doing much better than people thought. I think like some colleges in America published a article saying Taiwan is kind of screwed, and Taiwan kind of said psych. Where they handled it a lot better than people thought. Still bad, but better. Basically, there's really one really big reason for this, right? Because they still didn't let any non-American non-American, non-Taiwanese citizens in. So for someone like me who is like dual citizenship, this was fine, kind of. But there's a little bit of like what's like a bit of like paperwork things that we had to be fill out because I am a Taiwanese citizen, but like in a different way. Because like you get the idea, right? Like we had to use my Taiwanese passport. There's a whole thing there. I'm pretty sure they drafted me to the military because of this. I don't know. Maybe I'll get into that another day. So yeah, you had to be a citizen, and even if you were a citizen, you still had to quarantine for 2 weeks. One thing that I remember a lot from this point in time is that COVID tests in Asian countries, Taiwan especially, or specifically, hurt really badly. So you know how like if you're American, if you got a COVID test in your high school, they just took a cotton swab and like touch your nose a bit, right? But like in Taiwan, they freaking went for the brain. Like they wanted like some of your like brain cells. Like that was disgusting. Okay, because like I'm so scared there's gonna be blood and like they're just like, oh, this is normal, and it hurt so badly. I had to take like an ibuprofen because I had a headache after that. Summer 2022, not 2022, 2020 part 2. So quarantining was not cheap. Taiwan is great and all, but they do not pay for that, right? So they may, at the very most, they provide a hotel room for you, but you still have to pay for it, which is understandable, obviously. So there was this one catch, right? Like obviously when they give you a hotel room, they're gonna give you a solid quality new hotel room, but there was a problem in the fact that if you were 18 or older, you had to live alone, and of course this is a bad idea because my sister at the time was like 18, maybe 19. So like she's like just an adult. I don't think she wants to be in a hotel room by herself, especially considering the fact that like, oh, she's going to college. You get the idea, right? It's not exactly ideal, right? There's really no need for this because we were all in the same place to begin with. So what do you mean? Like if one of us had the virus, knock on wood, why would it make a difference that we were together, right? And in fact, wouldn't it make it worse if she was by herself because she sprayed that virus to another? I don't know. Like, I don't understand this to this day. I think Taiwan may have been a little bit strange here, but I get it, right? They did a great job, and it was just a safety precaution, right? I want to point out my dad wasn't even able to come on like this year because he has vacation days, and 2 weeks is just way too long, right? So he just couldn't come back for 3 years, like. There's a lot of things I could get into here. Some of it is personal, like it's already kind of personal, but you get the idea, right? It affected my family a decent chunk, because like it's just messy, right? So we needed to find a less official way to quarantine. Taiwan government said that as long as you are isolated with no one else, you can all stay together. So my uncle knew a guy with an old house for us to stay in, like. If you search up like old Taiwanese house, you probably get what I'm talking about. Price is fine. I actually remembered a funny story where we actually broke the AC there, and it basically cost the money that we paid them for the quarantine hotel. That's not our fault, I swear. So it's not the greatest quality. There's a lot of bugs. Taiwan is known for their abundance of bugs, especially in like the older houses. They're really scary at night. I remember this one time. I saw a cockroach and a lizard, and I was scared, and I screamed, and I scared my sister. So not great. So you know, the worst part is that you actually have to stay there for 15 days since they only count the first full day. So what I mean by this is that if you show up on like today, I think today the video this video is coming out like when is this video coming out? I don't remember when it's coming out. Let's just say that today is the 15th, right? And like we arrive at 3 p.m. So you can only start counting until midnight that day, right? And obviously you're not going to leave a house at midnight, so you're basically just going to stay there for 15 days, maybe 16 in some weird way. So I don't understand why they did this. Like you think for Taiwan being so exact, they would have let us leave the same like almost exactly 14 days after, because like that's still fine, right? And like that's still a lot of time you could use doing other things. No, I don't know why they didn't do this. I guess they're being extra safe. So the first day just kind of felt like you were doing nothing because you were literally accomplishing nothing by staying there, which is kind of horrible. So overall, not the most fun experience, but at the end we were safe. We were chill. I watched a lot of YouTube. I think we did some working out, like on those like those like YouTube videos where you work out. I got like no work done. I think at the time I was preparing for the SHSAT, which would I wish that was the hardest thing I had to prepare for in my life. But at the time, by the time we were out of quarantine, there really wasn't much time to do anything, right? Because with when you have a family who works, and right, you're not gonna spend like that long on a summer vacation anyway, and that shit gets cut in half when there's quarantine, right? Back to school. So America had no quarantine laws. I remember when my parents came back. Well, my mom, right? She came back and like they told her, "Oh, just trust me, just stay at home." Huh? I don't really understand like what America thought they were doing here. No one was gonna do that because and it's like, especially considering the fact that like my mom works. Like, what do you mean like she's just gonna stay at home and do nothing? Actually, no. This is funny because I'm pretty sure she still did this. I'm pretty sure that like if she really wanted to, she could have just like been like, "Nah, I'm gonna go to work anyway." But she still stayed home. I remember it was an interesting experience, right? Because my sister was in college, so it was just us for like a week or two. Eventually, right, she'd go back to work, and I was alone. Definitely a different experience, right? Because like all of a sudden you're home alone, you have more time to like think about things. This whole year can really just be sung by, but I got by, right? I didn't really learn much. I didn't really have fun. I didn't have anywhere to go. Pokemon Go is not really playable in my house because there's really nothing there. So I was really the only one who was participating in my online classes. Like if anyone else did, like I don't know why, but for some reason I only had chemistry 3 days a week. Like what do you mean that you didn't have time to have chemistry the other 2 days? Like is this like really? Huh? I don't understand. Maybe this is my school's problem, but I don't get it. So mental health. It should be obvious that I have a inner monologue. Like as I was typing this script, I literally read it as I typed it. So when you have nothing to do, your brain just doesn't shut up. And it really took a toll on me because it when you have nothing to think about, your brain just kind of thinks about the worst, or not the worst, but like the most random bullcrap possible. And it's not always great things is the best way to put it, right? Like I don't want to get into details, but it's not pretty, right? Like it's moments like these when you have so much time like that's quiet that your brain just kind of, or not even your brain, like I like to think of it as like an evil force invites unwanted thoughts into your brain. So it was not a great time for me. It really took a toll on me, as it did a lot of people, I imagine. And I started questioning a lot of things about my life. This is probably the start of like me feeling like I'm not going to accomplish much. Right? This is kind of the start of those insecurities. And I still feel those effects today. My brain will never be the same it was before COVID. I don't think my brain will ever be the same. And I think that's kind of that's okay, right? I think there are definitely some benefits to having an inner monologue, but it just means that my brain I'll never think the same way I used to. Truly not a happy year, but like not in the sense where it's like you're like miserable, right? Like yes, you are miserable, but like imagine being so sad that you just can't feel it. Like being so sad that you just don't know it. Because truth be told, that's not a happy lifestyle. But like in the beginning, you're like, oh, I gotta play so many games and eat food in class. Like, okay, but that doesn't really work for that long. Okay. So back to school, kind of. So under extreme preparation, schools will reopen in September 2021. For context, I'm pretty sure Asian countries, Taiwan especially, I'm not glazing Taiwan, I promise. But for context, Taiwan opened schools in 2020, so they were ready. There's a lot of things I could say here. Like I'm pretty sure COVID was mutated into like a less severe form, but that's not really what this video is about. So we had to go to school, wear masks and all that COVID rules. So things were as normal as they could be, right? We haven't had a full year of normal school in like 2 years, right? So right, school was more online, right? It was just more convenient. I don't think we're ever gonna go back to the old style of just handing in crap physically. It's definitely true, right? Like it's easier just to grade stuff online. Snow days just weren't a thing anymore because why have a snow day when you can just have an online day? I blame the mayor for that. I was a transfer student, ironically, but it really made no difference. Oh, and if you're wondering, Taiwan still had a 2-week quarantine in 2021. And at that point, I'm pretty sure my sister had to stay separately, which was a thing. But it was a little bit less horrible because like we had a slightly higher quality place, and my sister was more used to living alone. Yada yada. And in 2022, it was actually 1 week, which is a little better. But you get it. It's getting a little better, right? Like if Taiwan is loosening the reins, you know that other countries probably have done so. Like I don't think America even had a quarantine after 2021. Like I think 2022 was like the last year COVID was seen as like a major thing. And stuff was back to normal for the most part. like COVID just became like a average cold, right? Kind of like even like today, I feel like COVID is still out there, but it's in a way where it's like, oh, it's kind of sucks that you have it, but it's not the end of the world, right? I think, and things were kind of normal again, right? Like a lot of things will definitely change here. Is that any businesses that profited dramatically during COVID are going to all of a sudden drop. Zoom, Pfizer, if you even know what that is, and then some companies that like stuff like concerts and like all you can eats, they see their business coming back, right? So the conclusion, right? People in general wear masks more often. People just wear them now. I think there's just like there's a fear of that. And really masks are helpful for anything, and not just like a virus. Air quality also helpful. Oh, that's a separate story. I remember. Do y'all remember when Canada just like lit on fire for 2 weeks? Yeah, that could be a story. But COVID is old enough to have a movie about it. Heck, I'm pretty sure even in 2020 there was already like movies or like TV shows about it. And really the end product of all this is people my age especially feeling like they grew up way too fast. Like a part of their life is missing, right? Like I think something that really I think about often, right, is that people always say that like because COVID hit at a time where I was starting high school, I just never had that experience. And like even now you kind of feel like the effects, right? Because you feel like people just don't know how to interact anymore. And I think a lot of my social anxiety comes from just that. And like I guess in some ways like I had it okay, right? Because there are some people who couldn't even graduate from high school because of COVID, right? But it's clear that COVID affected all of us in different ways. This video isn't as happy as the other ones. But if there really is any takeaway here, it's just not to take health for granted. Like we never thought that we would have a pandemic in modern day, yet here we were. And like in modern day, 2025, right, where COVID is mostly an afterthought, I guess it's good to be grateful for our health, right? Even if it's just a cold, even if it's just like a sore throat, just really think about like how important health is, and like we're here, we're having a good time. There's a world out there to explore, and you can explore it. So I guess that's a takeaway for today's video. Bye.